Tonight, before sleep slowly closes your eyes, before the noise of the day finally fades away, just breathe for a moment. Let the room grow quiet. Let your thoughts slow down. Let your heart settle here, gently. Because maybe today was not an easy day. Maybe something happened that made you question things again. Perhaps someone disappointed you. Perhaps someone ignored you. Perhaps someone spoke words that stayed in your heart longer than they should have. Or maybe nothing dramatic happened at all. Just a quiet heaviness, a subtle loneliness, a feeling that something inside you was tired. Sometimes life feels like that. There are days when everything moves normally on the outside, but inside your heart there is a quiet whisper asking a difficult question. Am I still loved? Not the kind of love that appears in polite words, not the kind of love people say casually, but the deeper kind of love, the kind that stays, the kind that remains even when you are not strong, even when you are not perfect, even when you feel like you are failing. And when that question appears, it can make the world feel strangely distant. You may still smile at people. You may still finish your responsibilities. You may still say the right things. But somewhere deep inside, your heart feels a little unsure, because human love can be fragile. Sometimes people love us when we are easy to love, when we are cheerful, when we are successful, when we are confident. But when we are struggling, when we are quiet, when we feel broken, love sometimes seems to grow distant. And slowly, without even realizing it, many people begin to carry a hidden fear. A fear that says, if people could really see my weaknesses, would they still stay? It is a question that lives quietly in many hearts, and perhaps tonight it lives in yours. But before that thought grows any heavier, there is something Jesus wants you to remember, something simple, something steady, something that does not change with your mood, your mistakes, or your difficult days. You are still loved, not loved when you succeed, not loved when you are strong, not loved when you appear perfect, just loved. Exactly where you are tonight, even if your heart feels tired, even if your mind is full of questions, even if you feel like you have disappointed people, or even disappointed yourself. None of those things erase the love God has for you, because His love does not begin with your performance. It begins with His heart. The Bible reminds us of this in a quiet but powerful way. In Romans 8, it says, "Nothing can separate us from the love of God. Not trouble, not hardship, not failure, not weakness, nothing." Think about that word for a moment. Nothing. There is no difficult day strong enough to break that love. There is no mistake powerful enough to cancel it. There is no emotion dark enough to hide you from it. Even when your mind is restless, even when your heart feels heavy, the love of God remains. Steady, quiet, faithful, like the ocean beneath the waves. Sometimes the surface of the water looks chaotic. Wind blows, storms move across the sky, but deep beneath the waves, the ocean is still. God's love for you is like that. Your emotions may rise and fall. Your circumstances may change. People may come and go. But the love of God does not drift away. It does not grow tired of you. It does not slowly fade. And perhaps the most beautiful part is this: God already knows everything about you. He knows the parts of your story you rarely speak about. He knows the moments when you felt strong, and He also knows the moments when you felt weak, the moments when you were patient, and the moments when you were not, the moments when you trusted Him, and the moments when you doubted. Nothing in your life surprises Him. Nothing in your heart confuses Him. And yet, even knowing all of that, He still looks at you with love, not disappointment, not rejection. Love. The kind of love that does not run away when things become difficult. The kind of love that stays beside you in the quiet. Right now, in this peaceful moment of the night, God's love is closer than you think. You may not hear a loud voice. You may not see dramatic signs, but His presence is gentle, like soft light in a dark room, like calm air after a storm. And if your heart has been quietly asking tonight, "Am I still loved?" the answer from heaven is simple: yes. You are still loved, exactly where you are, exactly as you are. And as this quiet night continues, there is even more that Jesus wants your heart to understand. Sometimes the hardest moments in life are not the ones where other people hurt us. Sometimes the deepest weight we carry comes from the moments when we believe we have failed. Perhaps you remember a decision you wish you had made differently, a conversation that you wish you could go back and change, a moment of anger, a moment of weakness, a moment when you were not the person you hoped to be. And even though time continues to move forward, those memories sometimes stay behind, like quiet shadows in the heart. You replay them in your mind. You imagine different outcomes. You wonder how life might feel today if things had gone another way. Many people carry this kind of hidden regret, and slowly, without realizing it, regret begins to whisper something dangerous. It says, maybe God is disappointed with you. Maybe you have gone too far. Maybe the person you were meant to be is already lost. Those thoughts can feel very real, but they are not the truth, because the love of God has never depended on your ability to live a flawless life. If that were the requirement, no human heart could ever rest. The story of Scripture is not the story of perfect people. It is the story of people who stumbled and a God who never stopped loving them. Think about Peter. Peter loved Jesus deeply. He followed Him, listened to Him, walked beside Him, and yet, on the night when Jesus needed Him most, Peter was afraid. When people asked if he knew Jesus, Peter said no, not once, not twice, 3 times. Imagine the weight of that moment. Imagine the silence in Peter's heart after he realized what he had done. The Bible tells us that Peter went away and wept bitterly. He believed he had failed in the worst way. He believed he had lost everything. But the story did not end there. After the resurrection, Jesus did something beautiful. He came looking for Peter, not to accuse him, not to shame him, not to remind him of his failure. Jesus simply asked him one question: "Do you love me?" 3 times. The same number of times Peter had denied him. And each time Peter answered with a trembling heart, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus did not reject him. Instead, he restored him. He trusted him again. He gave him purpose again. That moment tells us something powerful about the heart of God. Failure does not frighten him. Weakness does not push him away. Even our worst moments do not have the final word, because God does not look at you through the narrow lens of your mistakes. He looks at you through the wide horizon of His mercy. The world often measures people by their worst decisions, but God sees something deeper. He sees the whole story. He sees the wounds that shaped you. He sees the fears you carried. He sees the burdens you tried to carry alone. And even in the places where you feel ashamed, His love remains, not distant, not cold, but patient, quietly waiting for you to return. Sometimes people imagine God as someone standing far away, watching every mistake with disappointment. But Jesus showed us a different picture. He showed us a father who runs toward his children. In the parable of the prodigal son, a young man left home, wasted everything, and finally returned in shame. He expected rejection. He expected punishment. But when the father saw him in the distance, the father ran to him. Ran. He embraced him before the son could even finish his apology. That is the kind of love God has for you. Not cautious love, not reluctant love. A love that moves toward you. Even tonight, if your heart carries regret, if your mind replays moments you wish you could change, remember this: God's love for you did not stop at your worst day. It did not pause at your weakest moment. It did not disappear when you struggled. His love remained, still patient, still faithful, still waiting. And if you listen carefully, in the quiet of this night, you may hear a gentle invitation in your heart. Not an accusation, not a lecture, just a quiet whisper from Jesus: "Come back to me." Not because you must earn love again, but because you were never outside of it. You are still loved, even after the mistakes, even after the regrets, even after the moments you wish no one remembered. God's love has never been fragile. It is steady. And as this peaceful night continues, there is another truth your heart needs to hear. There are moments in life that feel strangely quiet, not peaceful quiet, but the kind of quiet that makes you wonder if anyone really sees you. You continue living your life. You go to work. You answer messages. You complete your responsibilities. You show up for people. You help where you can. You try to be strong. But sometimes, deep inside your heart, there is a quiet feeling that asks, "Does anyone truly notice me?" It is not always loneliness. Sometimes you can be surrounded by people and still feel unseen. Your struggles stay private. Your worries remain hidden, and slowly, day after day, you begin to feel like your life is moving through the background of the world like a quiet story that no one is reading. Many people carry this feeling. They smile during the day, they encourage others, they support friends. But when the evening arrives and the house becomes silent, their heart whispers a question. Do I matter? It is a painful question because every human soul was created with a deep desire to be known, to be seen, to be remembered. And when life becomes busy and people move quickly through their own worries, it is easy to believe that you are invisible. But tonight, in this quiet moment, there is something important that Jesus wants you to remember. You have never been forgotten, not for a single moment, not in the quiet days, not in the lonely nights, not in the seasons when life felt slow and unnoticed. God sees you, not the surface version of you that people interact with, but the deeper person inside. He sees your quiet kindness, the moments when you helped someone without asking for recognition, the times you stayed patient when you were tired, the times you kept going, even when your heart felt heavy. None of those moments disappeared. They were seen. Jesus once said something beautiful that many people overlook. In Matthew 10, he said, "Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them falls to the ground outside your Father's care, and even the hairs of your head are all numbered." Think about that for a moment. If God notices the fall of a small bird, how much more carefully does He notice your life? Your days are not random to Him. Your story is not invisible. Even the smallest details are known. The quiet prayers you whispered when no one else was listening, the tears you wiped away before anyone noticed, the nights when you lay awake thinking about the future. God was there, watching, not as a distant observer, but as a loving Father who understands every part of your story. Sometimes the world celebrates loud victories, success, fame, recognition, but heaven often pays attention to quieter things, a patient heart, a forgiving spirit, a kind word, a small act of love that no one else noticed. And perhaps your life has many of those quiet moments, moments that felt small, moments that felt unnoticed. But in the eyes of God, they were never small. They were beautiful, because the kingdom of God does not measure value the way the world does. The world often asks, "How impressive is this person?" But heaven asks a different question. How loving is this heart? And when God looks at you tonight, He does not see someone forgotten. He sees someone deeply known. He sees every chapter of your life, the joyful ones, the painful ones, the confusing ones, the quiet ones. Your story matters to Him. Your presence matters. Your life has meaning, even in the seasons that feel ordinary, even in the days that feel slow, even in the moments when you feel unseen. Because the truth is simple. God has never overlooked your life. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are someone God knows by name. And right now, in the quiet calm of this night, He is closer than you think, closer than your thoughts, closer than your fears, closer than your doubts. And as your heart slowly becomes calm, there is one more gentle truth that Jesus wants to speak over you tonight. And now, as the night becomes quieter, as the world slowly settles into rest, let your heart rest here for a moment. You have carried many thoughts today, questions, memories, small worries that followed you through the day. Perhaps some of those thoughts are still moving quietly through your mind. But tonight, you do not need to solve everything. You do not need to understand every part of your story. You do not need to fix every problem before you sleep. Instead, you can simply rest. Rest in something stronger than your thoughts. Rest in something deeper than your emotions. Rest in the love of God, because the love of God is not fragile. It does not disappear when life becomes complicated. It does not fade when you are tired. It does not move away when your faith feels weak. God's love remains steady, gentle, faithful. It has followed you through every chapter of your life, through childhood memories, through seasons of growth, through moments of joy, and through moments when your heart quietly broke. Even in the days when you felt distant from God, His love never moved away from you. Sometimes people imagine that God's love works like human love, that it grows stronger when we behave well and weaker when we struggle. But the love of God is different. It is not based on your performance. It is rooted in His character. God does not wake up one morning and decide to love you less. He does not grow tired of your questions. He does not become impatient with your healing. The journey of the human heart takes time, and God knows that. He walks beside you through the slow process of becoming, through learning, through healing, through discovering who you truly are. Sometimes you will take steps forward. Sometimes you will take steps backward. Sometimes you will feel strong. Sometimes you will feel fragile. But none of those moments remove you from the love of God. Nothing you have experienced today has surprised Him. Nothing you felt today has pushed Him away. Nothing in your life has the power to cancel His love. And tonight, before you sleep, Jesus invites you to release the weight you have been carrying. Release the pressure to be perfect. Release the fear of disappointing people. Release the quiet worry that maybe you are not enough. Because the truth that heaven speaks over you tonight is simple. You are loved, not tomorrow. Not when everything is better, right now, in this exact moment. In the quiet room where you are listening, in the gentle silence of this night, you are loved. Jesus once spoke words that continued to comfort hearts across centuries. He said, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Those words were not spoken only to strong people. They were spoken to tired hearts, to people carrying heavy thoughts, to people who needed peace, and perhaps tonight. Those words are meant for you. Come. Come with your tired mind. Come with your unanswered questions. Come with your quiet fears. You do not need to hide them. You do not need to pretend everything is fine. Just come. Because the presence of Jesus is a place where the heart can breathe again. A place where the soul can finally relax. A place where love is not earned, but freely given. So tonight, as your breathing becomes slower, as the day gently fades behind you, let your heart rest in this simple truth. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are still loved. The love of God surrounds you like quiet light in the darkness, soft, steady, peaceful, and as sleep slowly comes, let that love hold you. Let it calm your thoughts. Let it soften the worries of your heart. You are safe here. You are seen. You are deeply loved. And in the quiet presence of Jesus tonight, you can finally rest.